Coverage of Game 6 of the 1991 National League Championship Series is brought to you by Lexus Luxury Automobiles, the result of a relentless pursuit of perfection. Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, the best hamburgers and a whole lot more. And by AT&T, the right choice.
Drabek was the winner, pitched 6 shutout innings before being injured in Game 1. Here's the lineup for Atlanta with Lonnie Smith in left field, Jeff Treadway starting at second base. So Pendleton moves down to the number 3 spot. David Justice in right field, Ron Gant in center. Sid Bream at first base, the former Pirate. Greg Olson behind the plate. Rafael Belliard, the shortstop, and Steve Avery, the pitcher. First up, Lonnie Smith. And he has had 4 hits in this series. Here we go. We hope you enjoy it. And ball 1 is called by the plate umpire, Bruce Froemming. Doug Harvey, the senior umpire, at first. Frank Pulley at second. Danny DeMuth at third. Eric Gregg in left field. Bob Davidson in right. And that'll be a base hit for Lonnie Smith to start this game. Off the glove of Buechele. He's trying for 2. And a leadoff double for the Atlanta Braves. That ball kept trickling away from the third baseman, Buechele.
Players referred to it as rug burn, and that's what happened to the Pirates. They were burned on this ball off the glove of Buechele. It doesn't bounce away. You wouldn't think, as Buechele looking back at Smith, you wouldn't think it had bounced away that far. But remember, Buechele came from the Texas Rangers. He's used to playing on grass, and that ball got away from him, and Lonnie Smith turned it into a double.
Now it behooves Jeff Treadway in his first at-bat to move the runner. First at-bat in this series for Treadway. And a strike from Drabek. Treadway was a good hitter during the season at .320, but Lemke a better defensive second baseman, so Jeff had to wait until Game 6 to get in the lineup. He bunted, but he bunted foul, and that's strike 2. He wanted to make sure he got the runner over to third. Jay Bell, the shortstop, is working very hard at keeping Lonnie Smith close at second base, but with nobody out, he won't be going very far.
You can understand Treadway trying to bunt here, and Bobby Cox encouraging a cheap run here in the first inning. The Atlanta Braves have averaged only 1 run in 4 of the 5 games. The only time they hit the ball well, Saturday in their 10-3 win.
0-2 to the batter. And Smith just got back. He missed a step going back in, and they darn near got him.
Yeah, Lonnie wasn't that far off of second base, but I think his right foot slipped out from under him, and he had a tough time getting traction and made the play close.
Good effort by the Pirates, Drabek and Bell. Treadway just got a piece of it. And the count stays 0-2. You know, thinking about that pickoff play back there, Tim. The regular season, they pick him off. You say, oh, well, you get into Game 6 of the playoff and lose the man after a leadoff double. You don't say, oh, well.
No, everything is magnified. The Braves have to win this game.
One ball, 2 strikes. Catches Don Slott for Pittsburgh. The only variance from the usual starting lineups was the insertion of Treadway into the Atlanta lineup. Two and two to the Atlanta second baseman. These fans will make some racket. Let's go Bucks is the call here, as opposed to the chop down in Atlanta. Folks all bundled up. Jackets, gloves, blankets. Got another piece of it to stay up there, 2-2. Treadway used to be with the Cincinnati Ball Club. And he was bumped out of a job there and ends up down in Georgia. He's from Griffin, Georgia. And here you see the folks prepared for the dropping temperatures. There are frost warnings tonight here in the Pittsburgh area, but it's not that uncomfortable, really. Leadoff double by Lonnie Smith at the start of this game. And another foul. Drabek's tried a little bit of everything pitching to this number 2 hitter.
The thing you want to watch with Drabek, and I'm sure Jim Leland is watching it, his left leg. A slightly strained hamstring on his left leg. You can see the wrapping on that left leg. And that is the foot and leg on which he lands. Not nearly as bad as having the right one pulled.
Again, trying to get Lonnie. Lonnie went to the back side of the base. Jay Bell is pretty good at blocking runners off the base. We saw that earlier in this series. To the second baseman. The runner goes to third with 1 out.
You can see by the way that Doug Drabek pushes off of the rubber that if it was his right leg that he had problems with, it would be much tougher. But since it is his left leg on which he lands, it is not nearly as serious an injury. A terrific at bat, by the way, by Jeff Treadway.
And look, Tim, the infield is in. That's unusual in the first inning. A runner at third and 1 out, and the Pirates are playing in with Pendleton up there. Drabek from the stretch. Pendleton has driven in 1 run in this series. He's 4 out of 21. President of the National League, Bill White. We've had a very entertaining series to this point. I think the fact the infield is in is a tribute to Steve Avery. Pirates feel they're not going to get many. Pendleton pops it up, and it should be the second out. Reedus. Well, the Braves have done everything right till then. They got the leadoff man down to second. They moved him to third, but then the pop foul by Pendleton.
Well, a guy who has been such an inspiration to the Atlanta club all year long, Terry Pendleton, has had a dreadful series. He is 4 for 22. So David Justice will have to pick up Lonnie Smith now with a 2-out base hit.
And in so doing, pick up Pendleton. Justice 5 out of 18 with a home run, which he hit here in the first game. Looks like the inning's going to be over. A leadoff double is hoisted. And the Pirates come to bat, and there is no score. Atlanta left a man in the first and didn't score. They send the 21-year-old southpaw, Steve Avery, to the mound, an 18-game winner this year. And he took the game into the 9th inning as Atlanta won in game 2. And here is the lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates. With Gary Reedus at first, Jay Bell at short, Andy Van Slyke in center, Bobby Bonilla in right, Barry Bonds in left, Steve Buechele at third base, Don Slott catching, Jose Leaned at second base, and Drabek, whom you just saw.
Defensively for Atlanta, Lonnie Smith will be in left field, Ron Gant the center fielder, and David Justice in right. Terry Pendleton at third, Rafael Belliard the shortstop, Jeff Treadway, the second baseman, Sid Bream, a very popular player here at first, and Greg Olson, the catcher.
First batter for Pittsburgh. 3 out of 16 for Gary Reedus, the first baseman. Well, little did the Braves know that Steve Avery, who was 3-11 last year, would give them 18 victories this year. How good is he going to be tonight? He caught the corner, strike one. Reedus, Bell, and Van Slyke. Foul ball, strike two.
Well, I'll tell you how good he was his first time out. He pitched 8 1/3 innings, giving up only 6 hits. 3 of those were infield hits, and only 1 out made in the outfield. That a fly ball by Lloyd McClendon as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning.
There's a strikeout for Avery, who had 9 strikeouts the first time he pitched in the playoffs. Here is Steve Avery talking about pitching under pressure. And the pressure doesn't seem to bother him. Look at there, Tim.
September the 10th against San Francisco, and then he beat the Dodgers in 1 week. 2 complete games there. They stayed in first place after that game on the 4th of October, and then he won game 2 of the playoffs, 1-0. He has been sizzling, winning 6 in a row.
He struck out Reedus. He pitches to Bell, who has 10 hits in this series, more than any other player. Bell hits it foul, and he's in the hole. Gene Lamont coaching at third base. This player has a chance to be the most valuable player in this series, Tim.
10 hits, 10 for 21, and he is only 3 hits shy of the National League Championship record for hits in a series, 13 by Will Clark back in 1989.
2-2. I like to blow those train whistles here at the ballpark, and they have one up on the video board that really makes a record. They're having fun here in western Pennsylvania. Out of play, still 2-2. And I missed a great opportunity in the top of this first. Second, nobody out. Got the third with 1 out, but failed to score.
So that's 19 innings that Atlanta has failed to score against Pittsburgh pitching.
2 strikeouts for Avery. Oh, that kid is really something.
He had 9 strikeouts in his first start, and now he strikes out Reedus and Bell on that outside fastball. About a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, a straight change. He can gear it up faster than that 89, I'll tell you. And his curveball is 3rd best pitch.
And he doesn't mind throwing that changeup, no matter what the count. He'll deal with Andy Van Slyke, who's 4 out of 18. And a strike to him. This Atlanta hurler was really something down the stretch. He was the main cog on their pitching staff. And of course, it all rests with him tonight here at the outset. 1 ball, 1 strike. Drabek had a good first inning. There is a pitcher who nailed down the division title a year ago and again this year. So he likes the pressured situations. Dazzling. Andy's knees buckled a little bit, but it's 2 balls and a strike. Slyke has hit a home run in this playoff. But he's batting .222. And it's 2-2.
Hitters number 3, 4, and 5. Let's take a look and see how they are doing. They did not have a good league championship series last year. Dan Slyke's first 2 times up, he homered and doubled off Tommy Glavine. Bonilla's having a good series. Bonds is not. He's 3 for 20. And they have left a ton of guys on base.
And they have pitched around Bonilla when they had to. He struck out the side. Steve Avery fans the side, and after 1, nothing doing.
Back in Pittsburgh, no score after 1. This is a neoprene sleeve that Doug Drabek is wearing on his thigh tonight for support. Now, other than this, he will not receive any other treatment during the game unless the Pirates get into a big inning at the plate. And then it's a catch-22, because as much as they want that inning, the longer Drabek sits in the dugout, the more likely it is his muscle will tighten. Trainer Kent Biggerstaff says if necessary, he'll take Drabek down into the tunnel, have him do some stretching, and maybe put him on the stationary bike. If he needs anything more than that, Biggerstaff says he shouldn't be pitching. Back to you guys.
Ron Gant is first up for Atlanta in the 2nd. Steve Avery in the 2nd game of this playoff in the 1st inning walked the leadoff man, then struck out the side. And he does the same thing here this evening. Time called by the plate umpire Bruce Froemming.
And Doug Drabek just the opposite of Avery. He is not a power pitcher. He'll get his strikeouts occasionally. But his theory, much the theory of pitching coach Ray Miller, put the ball in play and allow the 7 guys behind you to field it. That's what they're paid for, and that's Miller's philosophy. And most of the Pirate pitchers work under that philosophy.
Ball 1 to Gant. Gant is 5 out of 21. It'll be Gant, Bream, and Olson here in the Atlanta 2nd inning. There's Sid Bream. Used to play for the Pirates. Very popular here. He had a great moment the other day down in Atlanta. We'll tell you about it. Gant was fooled, and he double pumped and pops it into center. Van Slyke. 1 out. Down in Atlanta, they saluted Sid Bream, chanting Sid, Sid, Sid when he came to bat.
Pretty good racket when you can get cheered in both parts.
Yeah.
Not bad. He's cheered there and here.
He said then he felt like he should step out like Babe Ruth and point out to the flagpole in center field. Strike 1 to him from Drabek. Bream is 5 out of 21 with a home run. These Pirate fans are not rooting for him tonight. One ball, 1 strike. Chico's trying to stay warm. Pirates second baseman. His nose is running and his hands are cold. And has flied out, and Bream is up there with a 1 ball, 2 strike count. That's Bobby Cox, the manager of the Atlanta Ball Club. He's under the gun tonight. He certainly has a good pitcher going for him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And there's Jim Leyland, the skipper of the Pirates. He has a leg up on the pennant, leading 3 games to 2. Bream spoils a good pitch. Drabek does a good job of setting hitters up. He doesn't try to blow them away.
In and out and not up and down. He keeps the ball down primarily, but he loves to work both sides of the plate.
We're at Three Rivers Stadium, where we had more than 57,000 for each of the first 2 games. Got him down and in.
We talked about in game 1 how you at home could tell what Sid Bream was hitting or trying to hit, and what Doug Drabek was throwing. His curveball goes down. That was a curve, and his slider breaks parallel to the ground. So if that ball comes in on the hands, it would be a slider. When it goes down like that, it's the yellowhammer or the curveball, the yacker. A lot of names for it, but really only one pitch, and that was a good one there.
Greg Olson has had a half a dozen hits in this playoff. That's the most on the Atlanta club.
Pitchers have more charitable names for curveballs than hitters, however.
Olson has a home run and 3 runs batted in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Five in a row set down by Drabek at the moment. One ball, 2 strikes. You'll usually find Drabek ahead on the count. Saw there the field is damp in a few spots. They played football here on Monday night and had to erase the yard markers. He wouldn't go for it. 2-2. It stays the same. No score here in the top of the second. Second strikeout for Drabek. He has retired 6 in a row. Pirates come to bat, no score. No score in the second. Sunday in Toronto, Minnesota nailed it down. Here's Dick Stockton's call.
Fly ball to left field. Dan Gladden is going back on the track. He makes the catch. And the Minnesota Twins have gone from the cellar to the penthouse in the American League.
From the cellar to the pennant house. They've been sitting around up there. Bonilla popping the ball up. It stays in play. Sid Bream is there. 1 out. In the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Jim Cott, who's going to be with us on the World Series, is the only one in the ballpark.
Well, it's empty here, Jack and Tim, but that last out, exciting here in Minnesota. It's building in the Twin Cities in anticipation of which of those 2 teams are going to come here Saturday. Getting excited.
We'll be joining Jim Cott up there for the Saturday night game. The batter is Barry Bonds. Ball 1. How about that series between the Blue Jays and the Twins, Jim?
Toronto, you know, nobody anticipated Minnesota winning 3 games in Toronto, but they defeated the Blue Jays in every phase of the game. They outran them, outpitched them, they outhit them, and they outmanaged them.
And so there they are. What are they doing in the interim here, sitting around since Sunday?
Well, you know, there's going to be 3 games possibly in the National League cities. So earlier today, the pitchers were practicing their bunting down on the floor of the Metrodome, which is empty right now. They're preparing the stadium for the anticipation of the series on Saturday. Also going through a lot of the fundamental plays to defense against the bunt, which we'll probably see a lot of in that World Series.
Barry Bonds 1-2, 2-2. Bonds has had only 3 out of 20. We'll be getting some more reports from Jim Cott, who is up there in the Metrodome, and then we'll be with him on Saturday in the first game of the World Series on CBS. Bonds is out. 4 strikeouts for Avery, who is retired 5 in a row, and the woes continue for the Pirate outfielder.
This has been a tough series for Andy Van Slyke and Barry Bonds. Van Slyke with the homer and double his first 2 times up, and now Barry Bonds is only 3 for 21. And I think one of the reasons is the tough left-handed pitching that the Atlanta Braves continues to throw at the Pirates. The only right-hander, John Smoltz, the only right-handed starter. And should the Braves win tonight, Smoltz will be going tomorrow night against John Smiley of the Pirates.
Buechele is up. He's 6 out of 16. He's done well in this playoff, and a strike call to him. And Avery is totally composed out there. Buechele is in the hole.
I would think that if Pittsburgh wins it, that they would fare better, at least as well as Atlanta against Minnesota, because of Minnesota's right-handed starters. That way you don't neutralize the left-handed bats of Van Slyke and Bonds.
2-2 to the Pirate third baseman. It all starts on Saturday night here on CBS at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Pat O'Brien, Jim Cott, Tom Lasorda will join us. Tim McCarver and I will be there, and we invite you to tune in. It stays 2-2.
Of course, if Atlanta wins it, David Justice, the left-handed hitter, would be very happy to be facing more right-handed pitching. Both teams, the Atlanta Braves and the Pittsburgh Pirates, blessed with terrific left-handed pitching.
You can see that jackets and gloves are the order of the evening. Avery has the batter set up. Got him too. 6 in a row, 5 of them on strikes by Avery. No score after 2.
CBS Sports coverage of Game 6 of the 1991 National League Championship Series is brought to you by Toyota and the all-new totally redesigned Camry. Toyota, I love what you do for me. The people at Nike who encourage you to just do it. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
No score here in the bottom of the second inning at Three Rivers Stadium. A must-win situation for the Braves as Pittsburgh is up 3-2. Jim Cott resplendent with his homer hanky in his pocket.
Got it right here, Ted.
Kitty, any indication who Minnesota would like to face, Pittsburgh or Atlanta?
I don't think so. I think they're a well-prepared team. They're going to be ready for either one of them, and I think both teams are similar. You pointed out the right-hand pitching of the Twins, and both Pittsburgh and Atlanta have good left-hand bats. They'll be ready for both of them, I think.
And we had to turn out the lights here. The umpires were yelling at us.
Lights went out in Georgia and Pittsburgh.
And we go into the third, and Belliard bunts and fouls it off. We're underway in the third inning. Atlanta has the only hit. Leadoff double by Lonnie Smith, and he was stranded. Going to be Belliard, then Avery, and then Lonnie Smith. Belliard is 2 out of 13 against his former mates. And a diving catch by Lean for the first out, and 7 in a row retired by Drabek.
There's only one other second baseman in baseball that has the range that Jose Lean has. That's Roberto Alomar of the Toronto Blue Jays. Watch this play by Lean. Full extension on the line drive by Belliard.
Avery's not a bad hitter. Let's see what he does. Base hit up the middle with 1 out. Second hit for the Braves. Avery had been 0 for 2. Now he's 1 for 3, and he doesn't want the jacket as he runs the bases with 1 out. Corrales, the coach.
Avery, an outfielder in high school, batted .511 with 8 home runs his senior year. Played outfield when he wasn't pitching. When he was pitching, he was 13-0 and struck out 197 in 85 innings. It's a little bit of an overmatch, wouldn't you say?
I should say. Tim, the way he's performing tonight, he certainly ought to be an inspiration to his teammates.
I should say so. Got to find a way to inspire the offense, however. The Atlanta Braves have now gone 20 straight innings without scoring.
Lonnie Smith doubled off the third baseman's glove to start this game. Ball 1. The plate umpire here is Bruce Froemming. And if you allow an editorial, he's probably more liberal than Doug Harvey and less liberal than Frank Pulley, others in this umpiring crew. Froemming is a favorite umpire of a lot of people in the National League. They get two, maybe. He's safe at first. And the runner, the pitcher, Avery, went very hard into second base.
Well, you saw Doug Drabek in game 1 pull a hamstring trying to stretch a double into a triple. And now you see Steve Avery going into Jose Lind at second base. And that slowed down the pivot and could have been responsible for Smith getting to first. However, Lonnie still runs very well.
I thought Buechele also at third backed up a little bit on that ball, and for all the world it looked like a double play ball when it was hit. Of course, Lonnie can run, and he's a threat to run with 2 out. There he goes. You're out, and the inning is over. Slyke to Bell.
He would have been safe had he stayed on the bag. Now he slides off the bag, and the quick tag by Bell is out. He was safe initially, but in the end,
On Steve Avery. Avery has retired 6 in a row and struck out 5 of the 6. That's out of play, and Slot is 3 out of 14 in this series.
take one more look at the slide by Lonnie Smith. He is not called out until there. Frank Pulley delays his call. He's the second base umpire. And Lonnie sliding off the bag, and Jay Bell making the tag, and Frank Pulley the call because of that right there. Jay Bell alertly staying with the tag until Smith slid off the bag.
Making that tag play at second base is very important. It takes a lot of guts sometime by those middle infielders to dive in there. That's a foul ball out of play, 2-2.
Yeah, you got the base runner diving in with both hands, and the infielder with the glove trying to apply the tag. That's the problem with that slide straight in. If you slide with your feet straight in, there's no way you slide past the bag because the foot lands on the bag and the bag stops the foot. But when you go in with both hands, there is that chance of oversliding the bag, and that's what Smith did.
Slot stays up there leading off here in the third, to be followed by Lind and the pitcher Drabek. Base hit. Good play by Lonnie Smith. He's trying for 2. Out at second base to start the third. Smith not noted for his throwing arm, and a good tag by the second baseman, Treadway.
Well, that's what happens in a league championship series. You may not be noted for your defense, but you come up with a big defensive play. The second assist of this series for Lonnie Smith. It took him a while to stop, but then he throws an accurate, or makes an accurate throw to second, and the tag applied by Jeff Treadway.
Now a ball back to Avery by Lind, and that's the second out.
Treadway actually thought it was going to be closer on that play at second base. You could see him take the throw. Now watch how he comes back to the bag expecting Slot to be there. And now he has to adjust. The Slot, who had slid early, and now tries to go around the tag. He was tagged out about 6 times.
Yeah, he did the scissors, and he was tagged out again and again and again. So Drabek bats with the bases empty. He gets quite a few hits, 15 during the season. Ball 1 from the lefty, who has faced the minimum. Drabek's trying to hit the ball out of the park.
What you like to see a pitcher leave his feet when he swings. He left his feet and dropped his bat. I like that. You wonder if Drabek may not have hurt that hamstring. He's squatting down like he may have strained that left hamstring again.
We'll keep an eye on it. Pitch goes low, 2-1. Yeah, sometimes when you rehab, it's okay to pitch, but it's a different mechanic altogether when you're swinging the bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Another strikeout for Avery. He has struck out a half dozen. We played 3 quick innings, no score.
Toyota presents All-Around Champions. Terry Pendleton is a star third baseman and leader of the Atlanta Braves. Off the field, he is a leading advocate for the disadvantaged. In turning his hits into dollars, Pendleton has teamed up with matching contributors to assist Atlanta's food bank in feeding needy residents. Toyota is proud to contribute $1,000 to the Atlanta Food Bank. Toyota salutes all-around champions.
This game summary is sponsored by AT&T.
Steve Avery has been terrific with 6 strikeouts. Lonnie Smith started this game with a double, was left on. Don Slott has the only Pirate hit, out trying for 2. And we go into the 4th inning of a scoreless game. Steve Avery doing it all. 3 scoreless innings and a base hit while at the plate. Treadway leads it off. Grounded to second his first time. And Jeff gets his first hit of the playoff and a leadoff single in the 4th. Let's get a final report from Jim Cott up in Minneapolis. Jim, what's going to go on there tomorrow with the Twins?
Well, Jack and Tim, the Twins will play a simulated game. They'll hit off some of the relief pitchers just to pass the time away till you get here either Friday or Saturday and who they're going to play. So that's the way they'll prepare to try to stay sharp.
Okay, you can have the rest of the night off, and we'll see you Saturday, okay?
All right, hey, stay warm.
All right, we won't have that problem up there in Minneapolis. 8 o'clock Eastern time Saturday night. Either the Braves or the Pirates against the Twins on CBS. Batter Pendleton. Pendleton fouled out his first time, and he's 4 out of 22. We're talking about the fellow who led the National League in hitting this year at .319. Treadway is not a fast runner. He's of average speed. That's the ball. Leadoff single now to be Pendleton and Justice. Braves have gone 21 innings without scoring a run. And they're only 1 shy of the National League Championship Series record in that department. Ball 2 to Pendleton.
That's right. The St. Louis Cardinals held the San Francisco Giants scoreless 22 consecutive innings back in 1987. And the Cardinals, by doing that, they end up playing the Minnesota Twins. Those are the scoreless streaks. Baltimore versus Oakland, 30 consecutive innings. That's the record.
That's a lot. Someone took a strike. He was sitting on something, Tim, with a count 2-0, and just didn't like the location of the pitch.
What you do at 2-0, you make your circle, the imaginary circle, as a hitter, you make it smaller. With the count 2 strikes, you can't be selective, but with a count 2 balls and no strikes, you make your little imaginary box a lot smaller, and if it's not in that area, you take it. And that's what Pendleton did then.
See if the Braves do any running. Treadway not going, and a fly ball to center, and Ben Slyke gets through it. So Pendleton's 0 for 2. And we have 1 on, 1 out in the 4th. Pendleton disappears down the runway. It's 4 out of 22. So I guess we can pick on the big hitters of Atlanta as we've been picking on those of the Pirates. 1 on, 1 out for Justice. Grounded to second his first time. Tim, you talked about it before. The Twins are through the toughest part of postseason. The playoffs, sometimes more difficult than the series.
Oh, absolutely. It is gut-wrenching during the playoffs. I mean, there's something about that word division. Division means part of. The World Series, the connotation of that means you're in something, and even if you lose, it's not nearly as disappointing as losing the playoffs.
That's ball 2 to Justice, and the crowd groans. Runner at first, 1 out.
See what Drabek is doing when he falls behind the big hitters. He's throwing the strike away. Look at Slot where he sits, and the fastball away. When a pitcher is behind in the count, generally speaking, he pitches away. When he's ahead in the count, generally speaking, that's the time to go inside. You don't try to jam a guy when you're behind in the count.
2-2.
Away. Count 2 balls and a strike. He goes away. Because when the hitter is ahead in the count, that's when he's gearing up. He's waiting for that one pitch in that one spot, that little imaginary box we were talking about.
Now this crowd revs it up. Lean will get the second out at first base. Runner down to second. Leadoff single by Treadway at second, 2 up.
There was an outside chance that Lean could have stopped and thrown to second base with Bell covering. But you take too much of a chance because Lean was leaning toward the hole. So he elects to go to first. Now see what he has to do. He would have to stop and throw back across his body to try to get Treadway, and the risk was just too great, and that's why he went to first.
So Justice moves the runner over but doesn't drive him home, and Ron Gant is 0 for 8 with runners on base in this competition. First time up, he fly to center. Inside corner. I wonder if she'll make it through the night.
Oh, we talked about the big three with the Pirates. The big three with the Atlanta Braves are not faring much better.
They get some hits, but not many RBIs. Speed breaking ball, strike 2.
Boy, that is a nasty curveball from Drabek.
Tough to hit that pitch, 0-2. With a runner at second, 2 men gone. The Pitching coach of the Pirates is Ray Miller, eyeballing Doug Drabek.
The motto is 3. The Trinity, I guess you could call it. Work fast, throw strikes, change speeds.
The Goodyear blimp Spirit of Akron is based in Pompano Beach, Florida. Captain Dick Esch at the controls. He's from Sunrise, Florida. 2-2.
I think it's appropriate to have that blimp up there tonight. Good year, because both of these clubs have had exactly that. Good years.
Pittsburgh won the division by 14. And the Atlanta Braves had to really struggle to beat the Dodgers by 1 game.
Nice play by Slaught on the short hop.
2-2 to Gant. To the shortstop, Bell. 22 innings in a row. 22 innings in a row. The Braves have not scored. We go into the home half of the 4th inning. Atlanta 3 hits, Pittsburgh 1. Down in the bullpen, they're trying to stay warm. They got a little fire going. And down in the other bullpen in the left field corner, same thing. Maybe a while before we see these bullpen pitchers the way these 2 hurlers are working. Steve Avery and Doug Drabek, top of the order for Pittsburgh. Reedus. Out of play, strike 1. Let's look back at some of the games in this playoff. And Slyke with a homer and a double in game 1. That's when Drabek pulled up the lane, trying to go to third in game 2. Avery shut down Pittsburgh with the help from Pena. Lemke drove in the only run of that game. And we went to Georgia, and we'll recall some of the highlights from games 3, 4, and 5. Reedus to right field. Justice. Got it.
And going south, and the chop. Greg Olson's home run, the 2-run shot in the 1st inning, and Atlanta winning 10-3 in game 4. For that lost toss in the 5th inning. And then Mike LaValliere delivering in the 10th inning. His first pinch hit of the game, and the Pirates won 3-2. And then that zany game on Monday when Justice missed third base, and the Pirates won 1-0.
Strike 1 to Jay Bell, who, like Reedus, was a strikeout victim in the 1st inning. Reedus is now 0 for 2. Bell has strike 2. So that brings us to game 6 here in Pittsburgh. And we'll play here tomorrow night if necessary. At the same time, 8:30 Eastern. Smoltz and Smiley. Still 0-2 to Jay Bell.
We visited with Jim Leland and Bobby Cox before the game, but Jack, I had to laugh at your question to Jim Leland when you said, Jim, who are you starting Saturday? Or who's starting Saturday? And Jim said, Jack Morris.
He wouldn't go for the fact that Pittsburgh is already there. And I wasn't implying that. I mean, of course, if Pittsburgh wins it, who's starting Saturday? Yeah, Atlanta will stay with their same rotation, too.
Jim Leland obviously concerned about Steve Avery, and if he wins tonight, John Smoltz tomorrow night.
Out of play off the bat of Bell. Still 0-2.
Well, we talked about the big 3 from both sides and guys that are not having good series, with the exception of Bobby Bonilla. Now, Bonilla is. But Greg Olson and Jay Bell, look at how they have raised. risen to the occasion.
Yeah, they've done excellent work, and Bell is up there looking for his 11th hit. Count 1-2. Another strikeout. That's number 7 for Avery. I can't get over that kid. He is certainly some item.
League championship record for strikeouts in a LCS is 20. Avery now has 16. And that is his 7th of the game as Jay Bell goes after a bad ball.
His pitching just seems to be as natural as can be. The ball running the right-handed hitter. Ball 1 to Van Slyke. He fanned in the first. Bottom of the 4th. No score. Pittsburgh 1 hit. 1-1 to Andy Van Slyke.
Doc Gooden of the New York Mets struck out 20, facing the Los Angeles Dodgers in a losing cause. The Mets losing to the Dodgers in 7 games in 1988. Right now, he holds the record in League Championship Series play with 20 strikeouts.
A late swing by Van Slyke. 1-2. Play again.
It's not only the strikeouts of Avery that is impressive, it's how many major league hitters are fouling balls back the other way, fouling balls back down the opposite line. They can't catch up to the fastball.
Foul ball again by Van Slyke. On Bobby Cox, who has had 2 knee operations. He has a hot water bottle between his knees, trying to stay loose on a chilly night here in Pittsburgh. And not only needs to stay warm, he's got to win here tonight. Two strikes as the plate umpire Bruce Froemming measured that one. And Slyke had said, I hope he doesn't call that one. Reedus flied out. Bell struck out. And a bouncer to Treadway. We have played 4, and we are scoreless in this very important game in Pittsburgh. Pitchers are holding 4th here. No score after 4. 3 hits for Atlanta, 1 for the Pirates. There, the mustachioed one is John Smoltz. If we have game 7, he'll be matched against the Pirate left-hander, John Smiley. Drabek and Avery doing their thing in this one. Looks like a run or 2 are going to do it, Tim.
Well,
that's the way it's shaping up.
Looks like that now. You know, we talked about Steve Avery and what he accomplished at such a young age. Well, look whose company he joined. Babe Ruth was 20 years, a little over 20 and a half, when he won 18 back in 1915. Then Johnny Lush, he won 18. Steve Avery third. And look at Ruth when he was 21 and a half. The next year, 1916, he wins 18. And then Fernando Valenzuela in 1982. And of course, Valenzuela probably would have eclipsed all of them were there a full season in 81, but that was the strike season. Fernando, with 8 shutouts, 13 wins that year, was the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young Award winner. But that's the type of company that Steve Avery is keeping.
You made that up about Johnny Lush.
Yeah, I made it up.
Was there such a guy?
That's a nickname.
Here's Sid Bream, and the ball is fielded by Reedus. That ball changed direction. came back a little bit, and Rita stayed with it. 4 in a row now by Drabek.
Bream hits it hard, but a rather routine play by Ritas. There have not been a lot of balls hit hard in this ball game.
Greg Olson fanned his first time up.
Here's a guy who's going to go to the World Series regardless of whether Atlanta wins or loses. Greg Olson. If they win it, he's going to play in it. He's from Edina, Minnesota. And if they lose, he'll be as a spectator. I think we know which way he wants to go, however.
Oh, yeah. He's
in uniform. That one.
He's hoping against hope that his club can win it. They have to win tonight and again tomorrow night. Drabek with 1 out in the 5th. This is to Greg Olson.
Notice how Drabek wears his pants. They look like pajama bottoms. That's the stylish way that players are wearing their pants now.
Right in there, 1-1. I think George Hendricks started that, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Everything but the footies.
From Victoria, Texas, Doug Drabek. Bell gets to it. Good throw, 2 out. Pittsburgh, number 2 in the National League in fielding this year.
Well, it's the right night for firewood. And Greg Olson's bat is exactly that after being jammed, and the bat goes between the mound and third base. And Jay Bell makes a routine play, but watch Greg Olson being sawed off. Woo. Players refer to that as getting in your kitchen, and I'll tell you, he was in the pantry then.
He rattled his pots and pans, and Belliard takes ball 1. Belliard lined up to second base his first time. Boy, we have watched Jay Bell improve year after year since he came over to the National League from Cleveland. Ball 2. This is the 3rd game of this playoff in Pittsburgh. They have more than 57,000 in the first 2 games. This is a big part. Still right. Belliard not a threat to hit one out. He had no home runs this year. Plenty of support for these Pirates, just as we saw down in Atlanta.
Because of the lack of power of Rafael Belliard, Drabek's just challenging him. He does not want to walk Belliard and have Avery make the last out, so the leadoff batter can lead off the 6th inning.
And a hit for the infielder. Bonds to it. Belliard's trying. Goes back. He probably should have kept going with 2 out.
Well, you got the pitcher coming up. That would be the only thing against that. But in this case, the pitcher's a good hitter with Steve Avery. But I think what Rafi's intention was here is to clear the pitcher here in the 5th inning. But watch this play by Barry Bonds. Watch this. See, getting to the ball stops the runner. You don't have to make a good throw. The runner is stopped because Bonds got to the ball hurriedly and made a throw.
Avery had a hit his first time and takes a strike. That was the 4th Atlanta hit, but it comes with 2 out here in the top of the 5th. No score. drove in 2 runs during the season.
17 hits, tied with Greg Maddux of the Cubs and Tommy Glavine of the Atlanta Braves. They were second behind Tommy Green of the Phillies. Green had 19 hits this year to lead it.
Second baseman leaned for an unassisted force out, and another scoreless inning for Atlanta. It has been a great playoff between these Braves and the Pirates. And this, a terrific pitching duel, bottom of the 5th. No score. Temperature down to 47 degrees here in western Pennsylvania. The Pirates have had only 1 hit, and this pitcher, Steve Avery, has faced the minimum. Bonilla leads it off, fouled out to first his first time. The strike. This crowd wants some action from the Pittsburghers with Bonilla, Bonds, and Buechele coming up. Bonilla looking for his 7th hit. And he wrapped himself in the helmet with a bat. Two and two. Avery has struck out 7.
You can see that left hand of Bonilla down over the knob of the bat. He overlaps the bat about 1.5 inches. That knob of the bat comes about the middle of the left hand. A lot of power hitters hit like that. They use that knob of the bat for leverage.
Avery hasn't walked anybody, and he's 3 and 2 on Bonilla, leading off in the 5th. Foul ball, down into the bullpen.
When a batter holds the bat like that, he uses the bat for a whipping action. The leverage is on the bottom hand. And a lot of hitters, for some reason, like to use that knob. And boy, he buggy whipped that ball down the left field line.
Missed outside.
Was just outside. Would you bunt here? Interesting, isn't it?
Well, you might, but they're not going to.
Normally, no way. Last year's MVP.
He's liable to do it any time. Strike 1, but he really messed up with the bat, didn't he, Tim?
0 for 19 with runners in scoring position. Make that runners on base over the last 2 postseasons. 0 for 19.
And he struck out his first time up here this evening.
He did have 1 hit his first time up with a runner on base last year against Cincinnati. But since that time, he has been 0 for 19.
Play strike 2. And when you're in a slump, and he is in a slump, and you get that 2-strike count on him, it really changes your approach.
Well, you become a defensive hitter. He's defensive actually before he gets 2 strikes. And again, it's because primarily the left-handers that the Braves have been throwing at both Bonds and Van Slyke. These guys eat left-handers for lunch.
1 and 2. Against this pitcher during his career, Bonds is 2 out of 14. Big swing, still 1-2. He didn't hold back on that swing. A leadoff walk to Bonilla here in the 5th. Only the second Pittsburgh runner of the night. The first one, Slot singled, was out trying for 2. Two and a dandy play by the catcher.
Terrific play by Greg Olson right here. I think that was just a show-me breaking ball. I think he'll go back to his fastball, preferably away here. Nope, they're going with a curve.
And he missed with it. He ran it to 3-2 on Bonilla and walked him. 3-2 on Bonds. Bonds looking across the way at the third base coach to see if he's going to take off with the pitch. On deck, there's Gene Lamont giving the signs. Bonds hits it to center field and Gant. Runner halfway, 1 out. So they get Bonds again. He is 3 out of 22.
And the frustrations continue for Barry Bonds. He hits us just a little above the trademark. Number 24 after Willie Mays, his father's teammate with the San Francisco Giants.
That lightens the load a bit for Avery. 1 on, 1 out, and Buechele the batter. He pops it up to the first baseman. 2 out. Bond's still trying to figure out where there are no hits in that bat. I guess they're all gone, Barry. Throw that sucker away.
He's checking it now to see if it's broken, and if that's the bat he's been using, he might wish it were.
So Steve Avery has regained control of the situation. He pitches to Slot, who has the only Pirate hit. And he gets ahead on the count. Boy, this kid is astounding. This pitcher, 21 years old, Steve Avery, is an amazing young athlete. First time he's thrown to first, he hasn't had many runners with it.
Now, that's the thing about a guy like Avery. You never have a chance to work on your move.
All the lights are on in downtown Pittsburgh. No score in the bottom of the 5th. Out of play by Slot, strike 2. Slot has had 4 out of 15 in the series. And a lot of opportunity to drive home some runs. He's driven home 1. Just missed 1 and 2.
I think the theme song for both teams should be "Show Me the Way to Go Home." They've been getting a lot of runners on base, but they just can't get them home. We used the comparison the other day of a football team going from 20 to 20, but they can't push any points across.
Two and 2. Avery has struck out 7, walked 1. Go Bucks. Green holding against Bonilla with Tommy Sant, the coach. Three and 2. So 3 full counts in this inning. Now the first baseman will drop behind the runner, Bonilla, but will go with the delivery.
If you're an outfielder here, you play just a step or 2 deeper in case a ball hits toward a gap, and you can cut it off. with Bonilla running.
Runner going and a foul. Keeps it 3-2. Slot batting in the number 7 spot. Avery trying to win his second game of this playoff. After showing the way during September and early October. Runner going. Another strikeout. Number 8 for Avery. That's the first man Pittsburgh has left. Will return to Three Rivers Stadium after this message. And a word from your local station. Those zeros on the scoreboard adding to the tension of this one. Atlanta has to win or their season is over. And the Pirates could clinch the pennant tonight. Doug Drabek preparing to pitch the 6th inning. Let's go down to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Jack, you guys were right. Doug Drabek did feel a twinge in his leg when he was up to bat in the 3rd inning. As a precaution, he came out and did some stretching in the next inning. So that means he's been down here in the runway twice to stretch. But when I asked trainer Kent Biggerstaff how Drabek was doing, he just shook his head and said, he's awesome. We'll see how he does his next time up. Back to you guys.
There's Kent Biggerstaff, the trainer of the Pirates. He's had some noteworthy athletes under his care while at college at SIU. Southern Illinois. He had Jim Hart. He had Walt Frazier as a couple of his patients.
I think he was referring, that word awesome was referring to the pain level and the toleration of the pain that Doug Drabek, you saw that swing. That was the swing, his first at bat when he dropped the bat, and we speculated as to whether he may have strained it slightly, but he's still in there throwing very well.
And we'll watch him when he bats in the 6th. The Braves haven't scored in the last 23 innings, and that's a record in the National League. Top of the order for the Braves. Lonnie Smith is doubled. Was in the 1st. He started this game with a double, was left on, reached on a fielder's choice, then was out stealing. One and one. It'll be Lonnie Smith, Treadway, and Pendleton. Braves picked a bad time to go dry in the run scoring department. And it may cost them the pennant. Two and one. Pretty picture here in Pittsburgh. Three and one.
It would be a prettier picture in Atlanta if the Braves could get something going.
Lonnie Smith trying to get to the World Series for the 4th time with 4 different teams. 3-2. Lonnie played with Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Kansas City in the World Series. They were all winners, too. Three and 2 to the leadoff man in the 6th. Caps and jackets and blankets and gloves. A spirited crowd here in Pittsburgh. And another foul.
We talked earlier in the series about how Jim Leyland protects Bobby Bonilla. You see Bonds straight away or a little toward the line. Van Slyke, on the other hand, toward right center. And there's not a lot of room between Van Slyke in center and Bonds in right. They're protecting Bobby Bonilla that way.
Ball 4, and a good piece of hitting by Lonnie Smith. to start this 6th inning, and he draws the first pass given by Drabek. It's the 3rd time in the game the Braves have had the leadoff hitter on. Jeff Treadway is 1 for 2. So 4 hits and a walk. That's the Atlanta offense to this point.
We'll see if he's bunting here. There are a lot of ways Bobby Cox could go. I think he'll be bunting.
We're in the 6th. It's getting rather late, and there is no score.
Doug Drabek trying to find out what he was doing. When pitchers step off like that, they want the hitter to commit to whether he's bunting or not. That's why Drabek stepped off. See if the hitter would turn around prematurely.
And the bunt toward 3rd, the play to 1st. And Reedus took the throw. Runner at 2nd, 1 out.
Doug Drabek a little too zealous there and almost was in the way of the throw of Steve Buechele. Watch. Now he gets down. And now Buechele has to throw in an awkward fashion. He can't stride toward the first base bag with lean covering. Watch how Drabek gets too close to Buechele.
You're right. He had to throw flat-footed. And he got him. One of the better Atlanta hitters up there. 0 for 2 and 4 out of 23. He's driven in 1 run in this series. Over but low. Cox, the skipper of the Braves, trying to manufacture a run. 23 consecutive scoreless innings for his usually productive batting order. Bell working on the runner. 1 ball, 1 strike to Terry Pendleton.
The most valuable player award is only chosen by the seasons the players had. As you see, both with terrific seasons, Terry Pendleton, 86 RBIs, Barry Bonds with 30 more RBIs, and a guy who had a terrific year. Pendleton, however, leading the National League in hitting. But look at the National League Championship Series that both players are having. Tough going for both of them.
Pitch puts Pendleton in the hole.
Now, Drabek has been featuring that disappearing curveball. You swing at it, it's a strike. The catcher catches it, it's a ball.
If Pendleton doesn't do it, it'll be up to Justice. Two and two. Big crowd here in Pittsburgh. They're hoping they don't have to come back tomorrow night. The Goodyear Blimp Spirit of Akron provides the overhead shots. The Spirit is sponsored this year by Goodyear Tires and Blimp Tour 91. Smith go back in standing up. That's important.
Well, it's important if you're safe. If you're out, it becomes unimportant. That's the daylight play right there. When a pitcher sees daylight between the shortstop and the runner at second, he wheels and throws blindly to second base, knowing the shortstop's going to be there. the story of this game so far has been Avery's fastball and Drabek's curveball. Another curveball gets Pendleton.
3 strikeouts for Drabek. I was talking about the runner going back in there, Tim. Sometimes you get hit by the thrown ball. You get to move up a base when you go in standing up.
Taking one for the team, right?
Right. Justice has twice grounded to second. 2 out in the 6th. No score. Just outside.
The 2 worst words a pitcher wants to hear is "be careful." 2 worst words in his lexicon. However, here they're 2 pretty good words. With Ron Gant on deck and Dave Justice, in my opinion, a bigger threat than Gant.
Out of the inning. Atlanta has left 4, and they still haven't scored. Atlanta 4 hits and a walk. Pittsburgh 1 hit and a walk. Bottom of the 6th, no score. Number 8 hitter will face Steve Avery. He has struck out 8, walked 1. And first up against him, Chico Lean. He hit back to the pitcher his first time.
Everybody sees a major leaguer and they think it's been an easy thing for him to get to the big leagues, been just a cakewalk. Well, not for Chico Lean. Matter of fact, he was almost released back in 1985 after 2 years in the minor leagues. Into short right. That's a hit. And that gives the pitcher a chance to bunt. Fisted with a curveball here is Lean, and he dumps one in front of David Justice, the right fielder. Lean, the guy who hit .207 in Class A ball in '84, and the only guy who wanted him was Ed Ott. Ed Ott, an ex-major league catcher, was the manager of Prince William, and Jose Lean broke the minor league camp as the second-string second baseman. The first-string first baseman broke his leg 2 weeks into the season. He went on to become the most valuable player and opened everybody's eyes with his defensive abilities. And he just picked up his 4th hit of this series, and Drabek is up there to bunt as Avery throws to first. Lean's running speed is average. Now Drabek doesn't have to take that big swing with the bat. It cannot be an easy task to bunt the pitches of Steve Avery. That's a good point, because Avery throws that high fastball. It's a rider. It has a little hop on it. And in order to bunt a ball successfully, you have to stay above the ball. You have to bunt the top half of the ball to put it on the ground. And trying to put the bat on the top half of Avery's fastball is tough. Drabek struck out his first time. And it's caught in the air. He held the ball, and the runner back to first. It's a funny thing. Bruce Froemming, the home plate umpire, in his zeal, almost gets in the way of a play by Greg Olson. He bunts the bottom half of the ball and pops it up. Lean was off of first base. That's a fair ball. But had he had a play, Bruce in his zeal is out there to call Drabek out. Watch Froemming on this play. Bruce right on top of things, almost literally. Olson up to throw. He would not have had a play, by the way. I want to mention that. Lean got back in time, but had he had one, it could have been a problem for Olson to throw. Well, Drabek fails, and the runner's at first with 1 out in the 6th inning.
Atlanta has to win this game or their season is over. If the Pirates win the game, they go to Minneapolis. Doug Harvey called the half swing, said ball one. Gary Reedus has struck out and flying to right. He's 3 out of 18. There are a lot of low batting marks in this playoff. That's because of the good pitching, of course. Stu Wright, 1-1.
If you're thinking about a ground ball double play, well, consider how remote it is. Gary Reedus did not ground into a double play all year, and Avery is throwing high fastballs. So if Reedus puts the ball in play, it will probably be in the air.
And they have him played about straight away, a little bit to pull. Counts 1-1. Lamont yelled down to the batter and gave a series of signs as Reedus stepped out. Green throws to second. What a double play by Atlanta to end the 6th inning. What a throw by Bream to the shortstop Belliard. That was spectacular.
Coverage of Game 6 of the 1991 National League Championship Series is brought to you by Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, the cars more people depend on. Goodyear, maker of the world's most successful tires, the Goodyear Eagles. And by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper is just what the doctor ordered.
Quarterbacks lead their receivers in football. In baseball, sometimes it's necessary for first basemen to lead their shortstops. Watch the throw by Sid Bream, leading Belliard perfectly before he gets to the bag, and the brilliant relay by Belliard. And Jack, I agree with you. You will never see a finer double play than the one just turned. The first double play grounded into this year by Gary Reedus.
That was wonderful. We go into the 7th inning of this squeaky game. No score. Reedus, he can run too, by the way, and he was out by a step. Gant leads it off. Ball one in the dirt from Drabek, who allowed 16 home runs during the season and none in the 6 innings that he worked previously against Atlanta in this playoff. Gant, Green, and Olson. Slyke. He did that before to Gant, who was right on top of the plate. We're in the 7th, a light hitting game, and the temperature drops to 41 with a frost warning here in Pittsburgh.
I think the frost is already here. It's in the bats.
You're right about that. Who's going to be the first to weaken? Will it be Drabek or Avery? Gant has flied to center and grounded to short. Are they going to reward this kid, Avery, with a run or 2 or 3? There's another tough competitor, Doug Drabek.
Talk about the killer bees. How about the killer eyes?
And the killer arms. And takes strike 2, 2-2. And Drabek has this batter leading. And is 5 out of 23. Breaking ball, and he fouled it. He doesn't see many fastballs from these Pittsburgh hurlers. And had 32 home runs during the season. And he's leading off in the 7th. 24 consecutive scoreless innings for the Braves. Look out, folks. And that was nasty as it whistled into the seats. And apparently everybody's all right in the seats, not injured by that foul ball. That's good.
Baseball games are great. You see guys in $600 suits trying to grab a $5 baseball. A little disparate, wouldn't you say?
Not that one. Not that one.
He didn't have that type of suit on, you're saying.
I'd pay $600 not to try to catch it. 2-2. Broken bat, fly ball, foul. Another breaking pitch. The commissioner of baseball, Fay Benson, is there with Joe Garagiola. Joe threw out the first pitch. He used to play for these Pirates. He had some suffering years here in Pittsburgh.
1952, Joe played here. The Pirates were 47 and 112 a year. Make that 42 and 112.
And he helped make it that way.
And he'll tell you he did, too, right? He's done all right, though, hasn't he?
He wouldn't have any banquet material if he hadn't played here in Pittsburgh. Two and two the count to Ron Gant. Mr. Drabek has not given him much to hit. He's still a threat. In out of play, giving Gant another chance. Mr. Froemming is from Milwaukee. He looks like it's a summer evening. And it's wintertime for this man from Philadelphia, Eric Gregg. Doug Harvey, he's from San Diego, so he's chilly. Nothing to it but rough and tough and hard to bluff Bruce Froemming. Can't watch as it go low. 3-2. Waiting on deck is Sid Green. 3 times in 6 innings, Atlanta has put the leadoff man on. And they have not scored. That's a base hit. Despite the effort by Buechele and Bell, Gant gets his first. And it's the 4th time in 7 innings the leadoff man has been on.
Steve Buechele plays this ball like Mario Lemieux would play a ball hit that hard. Skate save to Bell. Watch this. Off the heel of the glove, retrieved by Bell, and Jay making a throw. But not only do the Braves have their leadoff batter on, but as importantly, a guy who can steal a base. So there are a lot of things you can do now if you're Bobby Cox. You can hit and run. You can try the straight steal. A lot of things to do.
And there's hitting room through the right side, as you see. And Gant stole 34 bases during the season.
Drabek gave up 29 stolen bases. 3rd in the National League behind Lee Brandt and Doc Gooden of the Mets.
Or you can run against him.
I wouldn't waste an out here with Bream either.
There he goes. Slots throw. Save! Bell doesn't argue about it, but it was close.
I'm not too sure that throw wasn't by design. You've seen shortstops throw the ball to first base by bouncing a ball. And I'm not too sure that Don Slaught didn't have that in mind with this throw. See how the trajectory of that throw was down. On the rug, you get an honest top. And Bell got an honest top. And Gant was just in there. Here's the hop to Bell. That was close. He looked like he had his hand in there. There's the throw. Very close.
Bang, bang, and a tough play to call down there. Like they got it right to me. Greg Pulley, the second base umpire. Now the runner's at second and nobody out. Green wants to drive home the first run of the night. He takes ball 2.
Watch Don Slaught. He wants the play, and you're pulling for him to quick tag. I think that's good baseball by Bobby Cox. No sense in wasting an out with Sid Bream by trying to bunt him over with the bottom of the order coming up.
Bream is flied out to center and grounded out to short. Trying to burn his former teammates, and he takes a strike. In the bullpen, Roger Mason and Bob Patterson, right-hander and left-hander respectively. The runner goes to third. Batter's out at first. Hunter at third, 1 out. Now what do you do?
Well, the first thing you do if you're the Pirates is you bring the infield in. Second thing you do is pitch to Greg Olson.
And you have to think about the squeeze play. And gets the third with 1 out.
I'll tell you, it would be very difficult for Bobby Cox to put on the squeeze play after what happened in Game 5. There was some criticism. Tommy Glavine did not get the sign. And when Brian Hunter came in to try to score, Glavine saw Hunter coming. He squared around the bunt too late. He struck out, and Hunter was putting a run down. I do not think you're going to see a squeeze play here.
Gant's a good runner. The infield is in, and Olson's the batter. Ball 1 to Olson. He is struck out. Grounded to short. Cox and then Jimmy Williams relaying the sign.
Normally, you would not be going on a ground ball. I think with Gant's speed on a ground ball to the infield, they're going to try to score him with Belliard on deck.
Especially with Belliard coming up next.
The contact play is on, I believe.
Olson took a strike. Greg drove in 44 runs during the season. And he has 3 in the playoff, and you saw Belliard. He's waiting to come up there next. So we could have a pinch hitter. But it's up to Olson. They have some great arms out in left field and center field here in Pittsburgh. Broken bat to the shortstop. Throw.
Contact. Ron Gant had 2 things to try to get around: the bat and the catcher. Look where the bat is. Out easy. An assist for Jay Bell. Here's the contact. Gant with a good jump from third, but you just can't outrun that ball. Look at the bat right in his way. Bell had to go to his left to step. He comes back across his body, and once again the bat and Don Slaught preventing Gant from scoring. He never touched the plate anyway.
And Belliard is up with 2 out. That's a strike.
Infield in, and Jay Bell, actually the ball was not hit hard. It was hit to his left by about a step and a half. And Bell with that pivot, Ron Gant did what he could. But he had to go through the bat and Slaught, and he went through neither.
So if they get Belliard, it'll be 25 consecutive innings without a run for the Braves. No score here in the 7th. Strike 2.
Avery on deck, and he will hit as there is no one warming in the Atlanta bullpen.
Belliard has one of the 5 Atlanta hits. To the third baseman, Buechele, force out. 7th inning.
There, right there, when the ball is in contact, and that's exactly what a contact play is. The right foot hits the ground the minute the ball hits the bat. The problem was the ball was right to Jay Bell, and it was an easy play.
Bell leads it off. Ball 1, bottom of the 7th, no score. Steve Avery pitching. Are they ever going to get a run for him? He has pitched 14 1/3 scoreless innings in this series. Saved by the Bell on the throw to the plate. Bell is 0 for 2, struck out twice. Has 10 hits against Atlanta here in October. That's a strike 1-1. Bell, Van Slyke, and Bonilla. And if anybody gets on, Barry Bonds. Good swing by Bell, 1-2. We clocked that last pitch at 93 mph. And we're in the bottom of the 7th. To the third baseman, Pendleton. 1 out. Well, if Atlanta gets into the World Series and they have to win tonight and again tomorrow, Steve Avery will be up against Minnesota. Our first game is Saturday, no matter who wins, at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on CBS. Either the Braves or the Pirates will take on the Twins. Twins haven't played since Sunday. Here is Van Slyke, struck out, grounded to second. Big curve strike. Atlanta bullpen has been quiet all evening, and it's still quiet, although Avery is going to lead it off in the 8th. When Avery pitches, this place is quiet. He is something. 3 wins last year. 18 this year. How many next year? 2 balls and a strike to the Pirates center field. Bonilla next. Down the middle, 2-2. He's still pumping, Tim.
Trying to hit him tonight's like trying to get a button through a scorched hole. Try to do that, end up breaking the button, right?
What's he going to serve up to Andy? There's Bell on the bench. 3-2. Avery has walked 1, struck out 7, but he hasn't had any recent strikeouts. Last strikeout was back in the 4th. Walked the left-handed batter. Doug Drabek hoping for a run to work with. LaValliere alongside. It's the second walk by the Atlanta hurler. 1 on, 1 out for Bonilla. He walked earlier. He's 0 for 1. They are really playing Bonilla to pull the ball. No score here. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. And if the Pirates win this contest, they win the pennant. If Atlanta wins it, we'll play here tomorrow night. 1 on, 1 out. Broken bat to Pendleton. He got one. Scoreless going into the 8th inning. Second double play pulled off by the Braves. Who's going to be first?
Game summary is sponsored by Budweiser.
The Braves haven't scored in the last 25 innings. Steve Avery, 15 1/3 innings in the series without allowing any runs. And Gant was thrown out at the plate in the 7th. He had single, stolen second, gone to third on an infield out. Olson grounded the ball to the shortstop, Bell. The throw to Olson. He blocked the plate, made the tag. Then the Pirates went down and were scoreless in the 8th.
That was the top of the 7th. In the bottom of the 7th, with Andy Van Slyke on at first base, Bobby Bonilla the batter, and watch how the bat explodes in his hand. That's how hard Avery is throwing. Pendleton to Treadway. Watch Van Slyke go into Treadway. We've talked a number of times in this series about how a second baseman uses the second base bag for protection. But Andy Van Slyke goes through the second base bag, but Treadway turns it anyway. What a ball game.
And there's Andy Van Slyke, who is forced out to start that double play. Look at those totals. 5 hits for Atlanta, only 2 for the Pirates. Jim Leland hoping that Drabek gets through this 8th inning, and the pitcher for Atlanta leads it off. Goes a bunt, takes a strike. I feel like applauding this kid myself, Jim, when he comes up to the plate, man. He is something. Pittsburgh has Patterson and Mason warming up in the right field corner. Strike 2 to Avery. Drabek had 5 complete games and 2 shutouts during the season, and then threw 6 shutout innings against Atlanta in the first game here. And he gets a strikeout. His 4th of the night. He has walked 1.
The interesting thing about this game, as you see Avery going back, you are seeing in this ball game the guile of Doug Drabek against the power of Steve Avery. Pitchers have different styles. Remember, we talked earlier about Ray Miller and his pitching philosophy, and I guarantee you that's a proper banner right there, because Drabek has been just as dazzling this evening.
He was in the playoff last year against Cincinnati. This is his 2nd appearance against Atlanta. He is now pitching to Lonnie Smith. That ball's foul. Steve Avery 1 for 3 with a bat, but what a magnificent pitching job. Who knows how long he's going to have to go. Lonnie Smith has walked and doubled. One strike. Here's another statistic with regard to the Pittsburgh pitcher, Doug Drabek. In championship series, his career ERA is down to 0.92.
Only Blue Moon Odom and Dave Drabecki have been better.
Base hit into left center. And he will get a couple. He's there with 1 out. 3rd time on base for Lonnie Smith. His 2nd hit.
And Lonnie Smith with the only 2 extra base hits in this ball game. You get doubles by running hard out of the box. You don't wait until you're at first base and then run hard. And Lonnie Smith gets a double because he was in a position to get a double when he rounds the bag. No hesitation.
And he is there with 1 out for either Treadway or Pendleton to get him home and snap the streak, which has reached 25 consecutive scoreless innings for Atlanta. Treadway has done well against Drabek in his career. Treadway's 1 for 2 tonight. Remember those good arms in the outfield, Bonds and Van Slyke. They are really aggressive. Bonilla, a pretty fair throwing arm.
13 assists for Barry Bonds, led all left fielders this year, and Bonilla and Van Slyke with 8 assists.
Off the end of the bat, 1-1.
I think if you're a Braves hitter right now, you'd have to go to the plate and be surprised by the fastball. Doug Drabek has shown that he's going to try to get you out with the breaking ball. He's done it all night, and now with Smith at second base, you've got to figure he's going to do it again.
But he's striving for the strikeout. Smith being held by Bell. When Bell finally assumes his position, there is room up the middle. To the second baseman, pitcher covers. 2 out and a runner at third. 4-1 on the putout, and Atlanta still can't get that hit. 2 out.
Treadway jammed with the slider here. You see Reedus coming off the line, and Drabek takes the play, touching the inside part of the bag. And then he looks toward third in case Smith decided to continue home. But Lonnie, of course, had to hold up.
Well, are they going to get Pendleton out again? He's 0 for 3. Foul out to first, lined out to center, and struck out. Runner at third. 2 out. 8th inning. No score. That's a strike. He went around.
A steady diet of breaking balls. That's the slider, and Pendleton couldn't hold up. I'll tell you, Pendleton has been known to bunt in a situation like this with a runner at third and 2 outs. Buechele, moderate depth at third base.
One ball, 1 strike. Drabek working off the stretch so he doesn't have to worry about Lonnie Smith, the runner at third. Pendleton, the league's leading hitter this year. At the plate in a critical spot. Runner at third, 2 out. Scoreless, top of the 8th. Two balls and a strike.
You can see the Pirates are using the last sign. He went 2-3-2 pinky in. The pinky in, and then he moved inside, and the fastball was in. So the Pirates are using variations of signs, even with a runner not on second base. So they're using the last sign.
1 out double by Lonnie Smith. He's at third with 2 out.
Breaking ball here, curveball.
And it's foul. And he broke the bat. It's 2-2.
Don Slaught wanted the fastball in. Drabek scared him off. Some people shake the catcher off. Other pitchers scare them off. And Pendleton rips it foul and breaks his bat in the process.
Steve Avery hoping to get a run. He'll be pitching in the bottom of the 8th. That was a pretty good ball for Pendleton to hit, wasn't it?
It really was. That was not a good curveball from Drabek. But it was a good situation for it because it was 2 balls and 1 strike.
They're playing Pendleton to pull. Runner at third, 2 out. 2-2 to count. No score. Top of the 8th.
Fastball inside.
Fly ball to Bonds. 6 left for Atlanta, and they still haven't scored.
We said the Pittsburgh catcher, Don Slaught, is using the last sign. He gives 2, 3, pinky, inside. Now watch him move his right foot inside to Pendleton. Drabek hits the glove. Pendleton hits the ball, much to his frustration.
Bonds leads it off. Fouls it away. Strike 1. In the dugout, Doug Drabek, who has 8 scoreless innings under his belt, given a hug by Lean, the second baseman. Those two made a good play in that last half inning. Bonds is leading it off, and that's strike 2. For defensive purposes, they put Mark Lemke in at second base and take Treadway out. Buechele will be the next batter. Barnes is 0 for 2 and 3 out of 22, but you know what he can do. Ball 1. Steve Avery has pitched 15 1/3 scoreless innings in the series, and he missed outside 2 and 2.
The record for scoreless innings, consecutive scoreless innings, Mike Scott in 1986. So Avery, should he pitch this inning and the Pirates don't score, it'll be a new league championship record.
Into left field. It'll be handled by the left fielder Lonnie, who makes the catch. Bonds frequently can hit the ball, frequently has hit the ball out in that direction, but he's 0 for 3 now.
He had 9 home runs to left field this year, but this is a different air than these hitters are used to. You've got to really crank it to get it out of here tonight. Heavy air, 41 degrees, and you've got to get everything into it if you're going to pump a ball out tonight. Bonds hits this well, but it doesn't even reach the warning track.
That's the first out in the 8th. Brings up Buechele, who's 0 for 2. Avery sinks it low, ball 1. This is going to be a heartbreaking defeat for one of these teams. Strike call. This pitcher, I tell you, he tickles me, man. I don't think I've seen much like this in recent years.
You wouldn't be tickled if you had a bat in your hand.
Oh no. 1 on, 1 out, and nobody on. A line drive to right's a hit. Justice made a good play against the average running Buechele. Good play by Justice to hold him to 1. That's only the 2nd Pittsburgh hit, or their 3rd hit.
Buechele going the other way, and watch the play by Justice. Buechele hitting that ball flat-footed, that ball slicing away from Justice, and Dave making sure and making a nice play on a ball that could have gotten by him.
You could tell that he knew who was running.
Yep.
He cooled it out there and held him to 1. The batter is Slaught. He has 1 of the 3 Pittsburgh hits. Ball 1. We're down to the tail end of the batting order. There's the potential here for the hit and run. Pena warms up along with the left-hander Mike Stanton. Alejandro Pena, Mike Stanton. That last pitch was 95. Runner going. Fly ball to center. It is there for the 2nd out, and the runner back to first base with 2 out. So Leland trying to manufacture something.
Yeah, you have to do that. You have to do that because you can't expect, with the way Avery's throwing, to beat him straight up. Same with Drabek. You got to do something unusual when you're facing a pitcher with unusual talents.
Lean is the batter, and Drabek due next. Hence the bullpen action. Every once in a while, Lean will do that. He's an opposite field hitter ordinarily, but once in a while he'll get out in front and try to yank the ball, and he has hit 3 home runs this year.
You try yanking this fastball, and you're a yanker.
Strike two. Our blimp tonight, Goodyear Spirit of Akron, provides the overhead shots. A tradition that now spans over 4 decades for the Goodyear blimps. And a pleasant night for flying around for the folks upstairs. 0-2 to Lean. He's 1 for 2. Ball 1 half swing. No, says the first base umpire.
I think Avery is forced to pitch leaned to the defense. The defense is swung around to the right. I don't believe leaned will get a breaking ball to hit, especially with Avery throwing as hard as he is.
Stays 1-2. You know, Tim, they say baseball fans like action. 6-5 game or 7-6. I can't imagine anybody who likes baseball not enjoying a game of this sort.
Action comes in different packages.
Three Rivers Stadium, Pittsburgh. No score, bottom of the 8th. Runner at first, 2 out. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the batter. And a steady diet of fastballs for Lean, who's up on the bat handle. And another foul. He's going the other way.
That's his natural stroke.
And he doesn't have much choice here, does he?
No, that's right. I mean, the one thing you have to do if you're a pitcher and a catcher here is be patient. Don't let the hitter wear you down. Turn the tables on him. Wear him down. If he keeps fouling it off, keep pouring him powder river. You've got your defense behind you the other way.
And Lean keeps doing it. It's still 2-2. Now, if he gets leaned, it'll be a new playoff record for Steve Avery of 16 1/3 scoreless inning. But he has to get leaned out to win the 8th in this scoreless game. In the dirt, and that's ball 3, and a good stop by Olson.
That was not a good call right there. That was a breaking ball to run the count to 3-2. Remember, you got to be patient with a guy like Lean. Watch the breaking ball in the dirt. Now it's 3-2.
They didn't do what you said, and now runs it to 3-2. Green plays behind the runner, and Buechele will take off. And another foul, and this one is in the seats. So you would have thrown him yet another
fastball. You've got to be patient. Everybody talks about patience in baseball, and sometimes it takes a combination of patience. That's the only breaking ball. The difference in that ran the count to 3-2. And now if you throw a ball, you end up walking Lean.
To the shortstop, and the play to first by Belliard. Got him and sends us into the 9th inning. Scoreless, and a record set 16 1/3 scoreless innings by Steve Avery. You simply can't say enough about this 21-year-old Steve Avery. He's pitched 8, struck out 8, walked 2, allowed 3 hits. And as a result of his actions tonight, sets a consecutive scoreless inning record for both leagues in league championship play. And still, we find ourselves scoreless into the 9th. The Pittsburgh pitcher has been terrific also, Doug Drabek. He's 29 years old. Here's what he's done in 8 innings. Walked 1, struck out 4. That's typical of him. And he has scattered a half dozen hits. And Drabek has 14 scoreless innings consecutive in this series. Don Slaught will get behind the dish, and the 3 batters for Atlanta in the 9th, Justice, Gant, and Breen. 0 for 3 for David Justice. You know his potential. Into the 9th, scoreless. Justice has a home run in this series. He's 5 out of 21. 7th game. We'll be right back here at Three Rivers Stadium. And 8:30 is our start time, Eastern time, and the pitchers will be Smoltz and Smiley. If. Ball 2 to David. Stan Belinda is warming up with the lefty Bob Patterson. Reedus with the unassisted put out. He was playing on the line, and Justice accommodated him.
You almost have to play on the line, not only because it's in the late innings and it's a tie ball game, but because of all of the breaking balls that Drabek is throwing. Left-handed hitters are more apt to pull the ball, and that's why Reedus was there.
Well, you saw the Pirate bullpen. Drabek leads off in the Pittsburgh 9th. Now Drabek pitches to Gant. Ball 1 to Ron. He has a single and a stolen base. 1 out of 3. You know what he's trying to accomplish. It's foul, and it's 1-1. Down there, one of the mounted policemen almost caught that ball. Spooked the horses a little. Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 2. Gant really works that plate. He's on top of that plate, and he can whip that bat. He is a pull hitter.
If you're on top of the plate as a hitter, you're fast enough to handle the ball on the plate inside. The breaking ball has been giving Gant problems. He may get another one here.
Leadoff man has been retired in the 9th. That miss blowing away, 3-1.
Usually if the catcher's sitting inside and the pitch is away, he has to cross the plate. And even though it's a strike, you usually don't get it because the pitcher doesn't hit the mitt.
And you could see Slot trying to pull that one back into the strike zone. 3-1. Foul, 3-2. National League pennant is on the line here in Pittsburgh at Three Rivers Stadium. If the Pirates win, they win the pennant. If the Braves win, we play here tomorrow night. 3-2 to Gant with 1 out. Ball 4. So a 1-out walk is only the 2nd issued by Drabek.
The last time Gant was on at first base, he stole 2nd on the first pitch. Now, if you're Jim Leyland, do you pitch out now? If you're Ron Gant, do you think they're pitching out and wait until the 2nd pitch to run? That's what's going on in Jim Leyland's mind, Ray Miller's mind, and it's Miller or Leyland that call the pitch outs, along with Slot the catcher.
All right, they both give signs on the bench, and one of them is wired. Slot looking over. Green, the batter. He's 0 for 3. Hitting room through the right side. And Drabek steps off to see if he can learn something. And Ray Miller, the pitching coach. Drabek steps off again.
Just because Miller was giving the signs, that doesn't mean that Slot was taking them from Miller, because both Leland and Miller give the signs. One's a decoy, one's legitimate.
And has 5 stolen bases in this series. And that ties a National League Championship Series record. Ball 1 to Breen. Steve Sachs and Davy Lopes are the other co-holders of the record. Jimmy Williams gives the signs.
If you pitch out here and he's not running, the count's 2 balls and no strikes to Sid Breen.
And at first, 1 out. Not going, that pitch out, and it's 2-0. Now you can afford to run.
That's exactly right. You can afford to do a lot of things. Pirates guessed wrong there. And now Drabek in a whole heap of trouble.
The runner stays as Drabek steps off once more. I mentioned earlier that people are able to steal bases against Drabek. Six consecutive scoreless innings for Atlanta.
Sid Breen is a good low ball hitter, and his power slot is left center field.
They're certainly getting it to him, aren't they? Runner going. Fly ball for Bonds. Runner back to first. 2 out. Breen is 0 for 4. Along with a lot of other people.
Few offers tonight, huh?
And it's up to the Atlanta catcher. There's our story. 2 out, top of the 9th. Runner at first. We'll see if Olson takes a pitch or 2 to allow Gant to try to run.
The odds are much better for the Braves to have Gant steal second base. He was running on that 2-0 count to Breen. To have him steal and try to come home on a single rather than to rely on an extra base hit to score.
Olson is 0 for 3, but he's had a half a dozen hits. Lots of things going on in a scoreless game in the 9th. Gant's going. And he steals another, and that sets a record for the championship series. 2 tonight, 5 in the series, and he's at second 2 out, and that's 6 stolen bases. And Olson, the batter, with a ball 1 count.
Surpassing Davy Lopes and Steve Sachs, who had 5 steals in League Championship Series play. Representing the potential go-ahead run.
There's room up the middle with Gant at second 2 out. Remember those good Pirate throwing arms. And that's fair. And Atlanta finally scores. And they take the lead here in the 9th inning on a double by Greg Olson. A walk, a stolen base, and a double. 1-0 Atlanta.
Greg Olson at second base is trying to look unaffected. It's got to be the toughest thing that's happened tonight, to look unaffected. Look at Gant scoring the only run of the game.
And Tim, he wouldn't have scored from first on that ball.
That's right.
They're going to walk Belliard because they figure that Avery is going to stay in the game.
Well, the rally caps worked of the Atlanta Braves.
Tommy Gregg is on deck, but we do not know whether he is going to bat. They're putting on the rally caps in the Atlanta dugout.
See, that's something you can't do in football. If you have a scoreless game, you can't make a rally cap out of a helmet, but you can a baseball hat.
Well, apparently they are going to pinch hit for Steve Avery. There's Tommy Gleb. A walk, a stolen base, and a 2-out double. And batting for Avery with 2 on, 2 out is Tommy Gregg, the former Pirate. Here in the 9th inning. They had gone 26 consecutive scoreless innings for the Atlanta Braves. Tommy Gregg will try to add to the lead. And a strike.
Gregg with a pinch hit in Monday's game in the 9th inning. Doug Drabek trying to come inside on the 1-0 pitch to Greg Olson, and Olson spanking it down the left field line.
Andy Van Slyke has to do some housekeeping out in center field. That's a green weenie all dressed up that has to be taken off the field.
He dropped his scarf.
Doug Drabek gave up a run here in the 9th with 2 out and is still not out of the inning. And down in the left field corner, Pena warming up with Stanton to work the bottom of the 9th. Gregg with 2 on, 2 out. Blocked by Slot, 1-1.
Don Slot. It's not the way you go about blocking the ball normally. That ball had to fool Slot. Again, the curveball was down.
Olson at second. Belliard at first, 2 out. Gregg hits it foul, and he's in the hole.
You can tell Gregg has been watching, obviously, during the game. If you're a pinch hitter in the later innings, the one thing you want to do is look at the situation of how a pitcher pitches other left-handed batters. And Doug Drabek and Don Slot have gone to the breaking ball to Terry Pendleton, to Sid Bream, to David Justice. Justice has made 4 outs on breaking balls. So Gregg hitting that breaking ball hard, but he pulled it foul.
The first run of this one scored here in the 9th. A walk to Gant, a stolen base, and a 2-out RBI double by Olson. He was then joined on base by Belliard, who was given the walk. They lifted Avery, and Gregg is up. Two and two. On the bench for Pittsburgh, pretty good array of hitters.
With the pinch runner, too, and Espy.
Drabek is due to lead off in the bottom of the 9th. 3 and 2, and now the runners will go. Olson will take off from second. Belliard will lead from first with 2 out and a 3-2 count. 1-0 Atlanta. Braves finally scored a run. Greg batting for Avery. Lonnie Smith on deck. There go the runners. Off the end of the bat foul, and we'll do it again. Well, maybe the Braves aren't going to reward Steve Avery with this run, but this Pirate Club is tough at home, just as the Braves are down in Fulton County Stadium. There's Avery. Ron Gant seated next to him. He'll have to sweat out the remainder of this one. Runners will go again. And a strikeout for Drabek. That's his 5th strikeout of the game, but he gives up a run on 1 hit. 2 left. Atlanta has left 8, and the pitcher will lead it off. Then Reedus and Bell. 1-0. The Braves carry the lead into the bottom of the 9th. Alejandro Pena, who's been perfect for the Braves since joining their club.
Here's a situation where the mitt was inside. Drabek hits the mitt, and Olson hits the pitch. That's about the story of this game so far. An inside fastball that allows Ron Gant to score after Gant had stolen second base.
And it came with 2 out. And now the Pirates, in order to win the pennant, have to tie it or go ahead here in the 9th inning. And the pinch hitter is going to be Gary Varsho, batting for Drabek here in the 9th, and then Reedus and Bell are due up. Gary Varsho, the former Cub, leading off in the 9th. And a new left fielder is Keith Mitchell, replacing Lonnie Smith. Steve Avery could be the winner. Will be if Pena gets him out. Bunts in the air, and it is out of play. Olson longingly looking at that one.
Varsho was trying to take that ball with him. He wasn't trying to push it toward third. He was trying to bunt it toward second and make the second baseman field the ball.
They're loose on the Atlanta bench. And not so loose on the Pirate bench. That's Bell. And it's Varsho against Pena. Strike 2.
Pena has not thrown a breaking ball or a changeup in this series. All fastballs.
Jim Leland told us that he would send Varsho up there against this fellow because he's a good fastball hitter. 1-2 the count. And the man Slyke may get a bat in this inning. He will if somebody gets on base. Low. 2-2.
Once again, the fastball. Alejandro Pena, who could not be a closer for the New York Mets because of John Franco, has become the savior for the Braves.
2-2 to the leadoff hitter. Base hit. Maybe. Yeah. And the runner stops at first. Off the glove of Gant. Tying run is on.
I think you're going to see a pinch runner now in the person of Cecil Espy. We talked about Espy earlier. He's a faster runner than Varsho. As Varsho on the low fastball. Leland telling us before the game that's his pitch. And Gant should come up with that ball. The ball hit the heel of the glove.
They might give him an error on that ball. I would think they would.
Yeah. Ball hit very well, but Espy isn't running because Jim Leland is, remember, he carries 11 pitches, And you can't make a change like this, even though Espy is a faster runner than Varsho.
And here is Orlando Merced. He has a home run in this playoff. And let's see if the Pirates play a bunny game. That's a base hit for Varsho, although a tainted one.
Ball could have been handled.
Should have been. I thought for all the world it was going to fall in pretty well in front, and it just took off and kept carrying. And that ball fooled against. There is Avery, his 1-0 lead in jeopardy. And Pena gets behind on the count to Merced. Varsho is a pretty good base stealer in his own right. So they leave him in there to run the bases, and there's Bell. He'll bat next. Atlanta needs 3 outs to send us to the 7th game. And he bunts. Pendleton throws to first to Lemke.
Team is bunting to tie, you always make sure of one. The Pirates are bunting to tie, and you could see almost by the way Terry Pendleton feels the ball that he was making sure on his throw to first base. Once again, watch the catcher Greg Olson covering third base.
Pittsburgh needs a hit to tie, a home run to win the pennant. And Atlanta needs 2 outs to send us to the 7th game tomorrow. The batter is Bell, 0 for 3 tonight. Into right center, and the right fielder Justice gets it for the 2nd out. Bell fails.
Pena continuing to pour fastball after fastball after fastball, and he gets Bell on the fastball. Avery saying before the game that he's much more nervous watching, and I think that's not as much of the nerves he's shown the whole game.
He's hiding, but he's watching. So it will be Alejandro Pena. Remember, he's only 21. Talking about Avery.
Trying not to watch.
Trying not to watch. Hiding under his binky. And a battle between Pena and Van Slyke, who is capable of winning the pennant with one swing for Pittsburgh, or getting a base hit and tying it. Atlanta needs 1 more out. Out of play. Atlanta has out-hit the Pirates 7-4. There have been no errors in this game.
What Pena will try to do, you saw the first pitch inside. He'll try to keep the ball out of the basement, out of the cellar. Andy Van Slyke is a dead low ball hitter.
Strike 1 to Van Slyke. Tying run at second, 2 out. Wild pitch. Tying run at third, 2 out. And 1-1 to the batter. That's Varsho. He got the hit. He's at third. Pena did that in a previous outing in this series.
In the 1-0 game that Avery won.
Same thing happening again.
Game 2. The difference was there was 1 out in that game, and Buechele grounded back to Pena.
Now the tying runs at third, 2 out. Drabek hoping to get off the hook, as are all these Pirate fans. And Slyke, the man of the moment, out of play, and he's in the hole 1 and 2. Pena keeping the ball away from Andy Van Slyke.
More imperative to keep it in and out. You keep it up. Keep it out of that down zone. Again, Van Slyke likes it down.
9 run at third, 2 out, 9th inning. 1 and 2 to Van Slyke. Yeah, good rip at that. To point out that Atlanta had Mike Stanton in the bullpen, the left-hander, but they stay with Pena. The pitch to Van Slyke. He can't bear to watch. He'd rather be out there. 1 and 2. Will there be a 7th game? The next pitcher, too, will help determine that. Foul ball. Foul ball.
Okay.
That's the potential that Van Slyke has. He hit 17 home runs during the year.
He tried to come inside with a fastball, and the ball set back on the middle of the plate. Little body language familiar to all hitters.
1 and 2 to the batter. Into left field, and another foul ball as Van Slyke tantalizes us here in the 9th inning. That pitch clock from Pena at above 90 miles an hour. 1-0 Atlanta. They scored in the top of this inning on the 2-out double by Olson. Drabek will be the loser if the Pirates fail to score. And if the Pirates fail to score, we'll have a 7th game here tomorrow night. Smiley against Smoltz. Bonilla is on deck. Nobody has left this park, and all the folks are standing. That ball is foul also. And the Pirate outfielder is getting his swings against Alejandro Pena. Look at that stat. 1 hit in the last 30 at-bats. Runners on base. There's Varsho carrying the tying run. 2 out here in the bottom of the 9th. Count 1 and 2 to Van Slyke. Got him! Got him! And look at that Braves dugout erupt. Breaking ball on the outside part, I think. And we're going to have a 7th game.
This is the first time in 137 postseason series that there have been 3 1-0 games. That's including the World Series. And for the first time in this series, Alejandro Pena throws the changeup to get Van Slyke. Brother.
Game 6 is a memorable one. And these Pirate fans will be back tomorrow night. Down in Dixie, they love it. Woo! 1-0 Atlanta and Avery. Olson drove home the only run of this game. Wow, he said, my heart is jumping out of my chest. And the Braves head for their clubhouse.
After one fastball after another, we've been talking about it. The first off-speed pitch of the series thrown by Pena, a straight change. And you can see the palm ball, see the finger sitting up, the straight change, the first off-speed pitch of the series wins the ball game for Atlanta. Unbelievable.
1-0 Atlanta. There will be no 48 hours. We'll be back here tomorrow night. Atlanta wins it 1-0. We're tied at 3 games apiece. Tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern Time, the Braves and the Pirates, Smoltz and Smiley. And let's go down to Andrea Joyce.
All right, Jack, I'm with Steve Avery. Congratulations on another outstanding performance. I don't know if you realize it, but you set a new playoff record for consecutive scoreless innings pitched.
That's all right. I'm just glad we won. You know, I was so nervous sitting on the bench, I couldn't take it.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. We saw the pictures of you sitting on the bench. How difficult was it for you to watch? It looks like that's much tougher than being out on the mound.
I don't know if I was shaking because it was freezing or shaking because I was so nervous. But, you know, Alejandro done a great job all year. And, you know, we got the big hit when we had to. And we really pulled one out for us.
Well, I know the guy that you really want to give the big thanks to is right here, Greg Olson, the game-winning RBI. 2 outs in the 9th. Tell us what happened.
Well, in the 7th inning, I had a guy on third with 1 out, and he beat me inside with a couple fastballs. So I went up to plate, and I told myself he's not going to beat me inside with a fastball again. So he came with another fastball, and I drove it by Buechele at third base.
And you forced a Game 7. Congratulations. Good luck to you guys tomorrow. Let's go back upstairs to Jack.
We're going to be back for Game 7 tomorrow night and back with more with regard to this one in a moment.